Hello friends, welcome back. This is week 6 of working with a personal trainer. It's Tuesday, so tomorrow morning I get to meet with her to review this week, and let's get into it. For hydration, I haven't had a problem, even though I haven't marked it off my little list here. For sleep, I've been able to get my phone turned off by 8 o'clock at night. I've been able to get my 9.5 hours of sleep, but the waking up at 8 a.m. is still an issue. And it's become even more so of an issue because I started a new drug to hopefully prevent migraines, and its major side effect is to make you sleepy. You take it at bedtime, but I've been having a really hard time waking up in the morning. So I've actually been slowly taking other supplements off my regime that were meant to help me sleep and just peeling them back one by one and seeing if I can get to a point where I can go to sleep well and wake up well. And so far I have not been waking up well. Supposedly the side effect of the sleepiness, and I'm also having a lot of dry mouth, may go away in 2 weeks. I'm supposed to give this drug 6 weeks of a chance to see if it makes a difference, because I have a tendency of trying something, and if it doesn't work in a couple days, I don't do it. So we'll see. We're on day 3. So it'll be interesting to see where that lands. But I'm getting the sleep I need, and I'm going to bed on time. But the waking up, I don't know how much of it's in my control at the moment. I would like it to be in my control. This morning I did wake up a little bit, but then I went back to sleep really deeply. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a work in progress. In terms of resting, we did a good job resting on Sunday. And I did weigh in on Wednesday, or I will weigh in tomorrow morning. For exercise, I've been able to do each of the days that has been required of me, which basically ends up being 5 days a week. 2 of them being cardio, just walking, and then 3 being following some sort of program, some sort of video. I want to say it may have been this week, but there have been a couple days where I just I really don't want to do this, but I still chose to show up and do it. Thinking even if I did it with a little less gusto than I usually do, at least it'll count, because my heart rate will get up and my body will recognize it as exercise. For nutrition, that was the main focus this week, was creating and saving repeatable recipes that I can fall back on in the coming weeks, and developing that library of recipes that fit within my macros. And so with 1,600 calories a day, I'm doing 3 meals and a snack, and it's weighted a little bit more towards the meals than it is for the snack. So my meals are, I want to say 450 calories, and the snack is a little bit less than that. I'm finding the meals to be satisfying. I'm not going, okay, I wish I'd had a second serving, my body's not hungry for more. But it is to the point where I am hungry for the next meal. So I think that's a good balance. Let's see. So, and then mindset journaling, I've been able to journal every morning. Once again, it's still short and sweet. It's not really very extensive. I did have a couple nights where it was difficult to go to sleep. My mind was just continually thinking about the house project and that sort of thing. And I got up and journaled, and that was more of a brain dump type journal. And I think it helped. It got everything out of my head, and I was able to go to sleep again that night. And I tried journaling again the next night, and then I just really didn't feel the need for it. So I think I just need to be aware of when my mind is too active and allow myself to do the journaling on those evenings. And I think it'd be helpful. But I have asked my therapist for some journaling prompts, so maybe the mornings will be more meaningful, because really it's just ending up being a simple prayer for the day. but not necessarily drilling my thoughts or getting into anything. In terms of tracking food, I've tracked food every day except Sunday, and I think I'm going to probably keep that pattern until, you know, we're definitely focusing on every bite that comes in. We're working on the losing weight really hard, you know, because I like the feeling of Sunday being a rest day and truly being resting from everything I'm doing. So I'm not exercising, I'm not tracking food. You know, obviously I'm not going crazy and saying, okay, how many desserts can I fit on this day? You know, I think, you know, I purposely ate things that I wouldn't normally eat during the week because either they're hard to count or I was just making up the recipe. So like for dinner, I did a mac and cheese mix, but threw in some meat and some veggie and some extra seasoning and changed up the kind of fats I put in. So there's no way I could estimate that looking back on it. And even during it, it would have been kind of hard because I was using a box mix, and trying to estimate what you're doing when you're not following the box instructions can be challenging. Trying to think what lunch was. It is leftovers. I had a pork chop, and, you know, during the week I wouldn't normally eat baked beans, so I had some baked beans with that meal and tater tots. Once again, things I wouldn't normally be eating, but they're in the house and they need to be eaten. And I let myself have a hot chocolate because I was in the mood for it because it was a cold day and we had come back from walking or being out. I can't remember what we were doing, but I was definitely chilled. So obviously my calories are gonna be higher on those days, but it's one day. And if I'm tracking everything else and being on point, then I don't think it'll be a big deal. In terms of my days, I just run down the calories. On Wednesday, I got exactly 1,600 for the first time because she had given me these goals the previous week, but I didn't really understand how to use the app very well. And so I record it and it just ends up being, well, that's what I ate. And then it's kind of like budgeting where you can have a budget and then you go out and spend money and you come back and plug it into the budget and see what happened. Yes, that's kind of budgeting, but it's kind of not. A better way of doing it is having a budget, planning out your shopping with that budget in mind, and then going and shopping. So this week has been more of that type of, I have the food budget, and before I make a meal, I plan it out in the app and then make the meal and eat it. And then also finding a function where I can click it. It says, for this meal, your target is so many carbs, so many protein, so many fat, and this is where you're at right now as you're building the meal. So you can know how much more or how many less. So it helps dial it in. So Wednesday was 1,600, Thursday was 1,598. Friday was a little bit more, 1,627. The highest day so far was Saturday was 1,714, and yesterday was 1,601. So pretty darn good if I say so. And out of all those days, I typically went over on my protein, except yesterday I was under by 1. So I think it's fine. I can get obsessed with numbers. And she had commented about this would be a good thing for me because I like the details and I like being able to micromanage things like that. But honestly, just because I can do it doesn't mean it's good for me or it's a healthy behavior. That's why I like the food tracking to be limited to the times that I'm intentionally trying to lose weight and then learn how to eat to maintain my weight without tracking. But that's to come. So at this point, we have 2 more weeks of education, and then after that, we'll get into an actual cut where we're focusing on losing weight and we're focusing on learning how to weight lift. And that period will last for another 6 weeks. So 2 more weeks of education. And so like this time, another thing I learned about the app was nice is to copy and paste meals. So if I said, I'm going to do that meal again today, I can just copy and paste the foods. Or you can take a list of foods that you did and save it as a recipe. So we have a repeating menu right now. Like one night we'll have egg roll and bowl. Next night we'll have like tacos. The next would be chicken tray bake. One night a week we like to have, West and I like to have fish. Then there's an option of burgers. And actually this week I went and looked into turkey burgers. For a while there I was avoiding turkey because I had lab results saying I was having issues with turkey. But that's been quite some time and I've pretty faithfully avoided turkey. So I'm hoping I can handle it, because one regular hamburger was like 320 calories, whereas a turkey burger was 170. So that's a huge difference. And when you're looking to make a meal of 400 calories, most of your meals will be taken up with that one regular patty. And if you add bread to it, then you're done, and you can't have any veggies or anything on the side. And I am intentionally trying to make it so I have some sort of dessert at night. So before I even plug my dinner food in, I plug in the dessert I'm planning to have. So it's allowed for in there. So because I know that's my tendency. And if I sit there and say, no, you can't have it, then I'll want it even more. And the go-to dessert right now is chocolate black bean muffin. It's kind of funny because you cook it in the muffin liner, but it really turns out to be like a cross between fudge and a brownie. And not intentionally at all, it turns out to be gluten-free too if you use gluten-free oats, because it's one of those recipes you put in a blender and you blend it up, and the grain you're using is rolled oats. So it's very satisfying. It's very rich. It really hits that I need something sweet feeling at the end of the day. So I've been enjoying that, and it's nice to know it has some vegetables in it. I've been surprised that black beans really do go well in chocolate desserts, if it's a dark chocolate dessert. Prior to this, when we were living with Mom, we actually I made a chocolate cake with black beans, and it was good. Dinners. I got sidetracked when I got to hamburgers. So, egg roll, taco, chicken bake, fish, hamburgers. It's 5. We have some other ones. Oh, pasta with meat sauce. And I cook that all separately. I have the pasta, I have the sauce, and I have the meat. And so people can build the plate according to what they want. And the last one would be, I think we had like pork up there, because oftentimes I have pork chops in the freezer. So then we can cook some pork and then just choose 2 veggies to go with it. Usually it's going to be like a red potato and some broccoli or something like that to build out the plate. It's simpler when everything's separated and you can build it as you want it, rather than like the egg roll in the bowl, it's all together. But even with the egg roll in the bowl, I have control over it because I usually cook the rice separately, so I can portion out my rice and portion out the meat dish. Anywho, that's how my 6th week went. I've ran into quite a roadblock in trying to find, because I have a breakfast I'm enjoying and I have a lunch I'm enjoying, and once I get into that this is what I'm eating phase, it's hard to think about other options. Like dinners are easier because we already had a range that we were rotating through, but I don't have a range I'm rotating through for breakfast and lunch. And so finding options like that to build recipes to save has been challenging, especially for breakfast. I don't like just eggs plain. I like them with something. Like right now I'm having French toast, so I don't think I'm having eggs. It's with something else. It's cooked. So as an alternate, I did find a recipe for cottage cheese pancakes, and they're fine. But to me, that's not really a huge difference from having the French toast. So I think I'm going to be looking for a frittata that maybe I can have a slice of frittata with a piece of toast next to it, so to meet the carb need in that meal. But I'm not sure. But on the day that I was researching all the meals and trying to get them all plugged in and everything, I definitely got exhausted and wore myself out thinking about numbers. So I just have to pace it and be careful not to push myself too hard, and know that I have a couple more weeks to figure it out. I don't have to figure it out all in one day. Grace. It always comes back to grace, doesn't it? So here's looking towards the next week. I hope you've had a wonderful day. And until next time, feel free to like and subscribe.